Yo, what's going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome to the chapter review for chapter 217 of Black Clover. Now, Asta and Sakurai have been chosen to testify for what happened with the whole elf reincarnation, the devil's manipulation. They're all going to court, they're all going to sort it out. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and everyone's going to come together as friends. It's fantastic. I love it. It's so... What? They're not. It's all a trick. What? Now, this chapter is like a really high stake, high reward, high action chapter, but sort of like without the action. It's really weird, but anyway, you guys know the drill. We're going to jump into what you guys thought of the chapter, and then we'll go into what I have to say about it. So, 47% of you guys thought that this chapter was worthy of a 5-star rating, which is quite interesting. 14% went with 1 star, which was actually the most surprising part of all this, if I'm 100% honest. And KSF Superstar brought up an interesting point about how Asta getting the blame for all this, but not William. Vengeance, I have to reread the previous chapter again to understand, well... We're going to be jumping into that because it's very dirty, but it's very interesting in what's going on with all that. But before all that, obviously, we'll go into what I have to say. I'm going to give it a solid 4. I don't quite think it was worthy of a 5. I think there could be a 5-star chapter in the works within the next couple of chapters. If I'm honest, I can definitely foresee that happening because... the groundwork that's been laid so far is extremely interesting in my opinion, and I think the payoff reward for it all could be real high-end stuff for Black Clover, so that's exciting as always. But I think one thing, not necessarily a negative I have to say, because I understand it works narratively, makes sense. I am slightly sad that we've gone straight back into the fighting again, although like I was saying, narratively it does work in with Asta's character. I understand that. Personally, I would have liked a bit more chilled out, but we got majority of this chapter was a bit more chilled out, sort of. By chilled out, I mean there wasn't much action. But it works with Black Clover. It's what Black Clover does best, so I'm interested to see where it goes. However, I do think that it could be a bit of bait. I think what's happening is that Damnatio has purposely drawn out this devil power because I think he's going to be able to instantly just Thanos snap his fingers and subdue the devil's power, because we saw in the last chapter, what is now a couple of days ago in terms of Black Clover, that Damnatio and his scale things, whatever he puts on the scales, little items, little weights, I guess, essentially, we know one of them is linked to the anti-magic that Asta has. It's linked to the devil because we saw it completely flared up black, obviously signifying that it was linked with Asta. So, and obviously judging by what he did to those Eye of the Midnight Sun Knights, how he just instantly drained their mana and magic power using these weights that were linked to them, I'd imagine that he can also do something very similar to some degree with Asta's anti-magic black devil form. So maybe, in my opinion, and it's looking very likely, that this was all just their plan from the beginning to draw this power out of Asta so that it could just get blitzed out of existence. But probably not quite to that degree, but you know what I mean. They were obviously going to pin the blame on Asta regardless of all this. All they needed was the slightest bit of evidence, and this is their evidence, and that's the scary part, that no matter what, there's very, 9 times out of 10, Asta is going to fail this trial, and he's going to be having the blame pinned on him. Now, the question is that 10% remaining, is Asta going to be able to find the path he needs to take to escape with that positive 10%, or is it going to be that remaining 90% and that eats away at him and he's just fighting a losing battle? That's the interesting part, and that's why I think we could get a really interesting 5-star chapter very soon, seeing how Asta takes what... I mean, we know that he was going to say in this chapter that, no, the devil that did all this is different. However, I've got another devil in my grimoire, and if Sakurai wasn't there, then that's it. He probably would have been killed on the spot. Sakurai's there to try... Essentially, she's the brains, and Asta's the brawn. And together, it's going to be interesting to see how they try and fight their way out of this situation, but they've got to play it smartly, because one bad slip up, and they've ruined it all. But they knew the best way to draw out Asta's devil form was to pin him up against the wall, essentially, enforcing him to save Mary. Now, it 100% would not surprise me if the Mary that we saw in this chapter wasn't Mary. It wouldn't surprise me if it's someone who uses some form of transformation magic, and now that Asta's gotten close to him and he's brought out the devil form, it wouldn't surprise me if whoever is disguised as Mary actually is now going to transform back to his original form, try and subdue Asta, recapture him, and then Damnation will say, like, I think we've found our proof, blah blah blah, and Asta will be sentenced to some punishment along with Secre as well. Also, quick side note, what's going on with Julius and the other Magic Knights and everyone, all of that? Obviously, we've got Julius. I refuse to believe he's going to continue being Magic Emperor. I can't foresee how that happens. I mean, he even said a few chapters ago how the Wizard King's gone missing, and when I originally saw that, I thought, no, don't tell me Julius is going to try and hide who he is in this new form and not tell anyone that he's Julius. Obviously, Yami then came out and said, but you're the Wizard King. So what I actually think Julius did mean by that is, by the Wizard King's gone missing, is although he is Julius, technically the Wizard King, the real Wizard King, the big, strong, adult Julius, he's gone. He's nowhere to be seen anymore. So I think it's sort of the Wizard King side of Julius has gone missing. It's just Julius himself hasn't. So I think a new Wizard King has to appear sometime soon, probably after the Magic Parliament Congress. You'd think that might be going on separately. I'm not too sure. Maybe we'll go and revisit what's going on over there in the next couple chapters as well. We obviously got Frogelion, who's come back. Patry. Why was Patry not testifying as well in court for this as well? I mean, I know they're not testifying. It's their sentence, basically, but because they say how Secre used forbidden magic, she's got devil horns to prove it. There's no records of birth. I'm not too sure on that whole records of birth. I don't know if it's because she's 500 plus years old and all this type of stuff, and that's why, and they just don't know where the records of birth are or what. I mean, that seems a bit convenient, so I imagine they're purposely saying there's no records of birth. As for Patry, there probably wouldn't be any records of birth for Patry because he's an elf. He lived sort of like on the outskirts of the Clover Kingdom, I want to say. So Patry is sort of an invader as such, and visually they'll be able to tell that he is the Eye of the Midnight Sun leader. So I'm interested to see if Asta and Secre are getting this punishment, what is Patry going to get, if anything? Because ideally, you'd think he'd also be testifying in court. But maybe they've got something else planned with him. I'm extremely interested to see what that's going to be. Also, as for why William's not getting testified, well, for a start, he's a Magic Knight captain. He's a noble. To everyone else, all the common people, well, not common people, but everyone else in the Clover Kingdom, he's the saviour. He's the one that stops everything. And on top of that, the reason I think Julius, because I was really, really frustrated on how easy Julius got let William off. But someone made a really good point how Julius is obviously aware of the threat that the Clover Kingdom is currently in terms of from other kingdoms, and they're going to need all the manpower they can get, and to lock away William in a cell and get rid of him would be a complete waste and stupid. So I think William sort of has to be kept around as a potential safeguard for if the kingdom does come under attack, and I think that's why he's gotten away with this, as well as also being a noble. But yeah, like I was saying, Frogelion, Yami, Dorothy. We've not seen Dorothy at all since that really cool fight. And talking to Dorothy in that fight, Sally as well. What's going on with those guys? I'm really excited to see how that's all going to pan out, because I love those characters. Obviously, Frogelion he's the GOAT. He should be the next Wizard King, and I hope he is, but I think it could be William potentially if Julius does step down, which, like I said, I think he should. Yami, I'm interested to see what Yami's going to go on, because obviously he's going to have a lot of thoughts build up, which obviously, for obvious reasons, he's not going to spew out to the public and make them public, but he's going to have a lot of thoughts and opinions on William. He's not going to like William at all. I think that's safe to say. So I want to know what his personal thoughts are on the situation. And like I was saying about Dorothy, Sally, I said ages ago that I think Sally should join the Black Bulls. It's looking a little bit less likely now. She's not been involved for quite a while. I think she'd be a perfect fit for the Black Bulls. And I hope she does become a Black Bull, and we'll see what goes on with that. But I want to see what happens with her and obviously all the other ones that were reincarnated through or brought back to life with Radiz's sort of like reanimation jutsu. And Dorothy, because we've got the truth of Dorothy now, so is Tabata going to hide that away and not bring it back to the surface again? Or now that he's covered it, is he just going to go straight into it? So yeah, I don't think, and unfortunately I don't think this time that I'm going to get everything I'm asking for. That sounded really, really big-headed and ignorant, but I don't think there's enough. Tabata doesn't strike me as someone who's going to go into a load of detail in all of those over the next few chapters, unfortunately. But even if you just get a handful of them, I'll be eternally grateful because I'm really invested in those side characters at the minute. But with all that out of the way, like I said, I think it's a very solid chapter. I can foresee an absolutely fantastic chapter coming very, very soon. I should also comment on the colour cover we got this week because it was definitely one of the best colour covers I think we've ever had in Black Clover. It was fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave your like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad. Leave all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. As always, down below. I'll be seeing you guys in another video. But until then, peace.
執着の血を焦がす寡黙な炎おびき寄せられた神々の化身恐れを知らぬ剣が貫く目指す場所とはまだ見ぬ定め近づいてくる決戦の時